Well, listen, Troy, we had some exciting things up in Kansas. I mean, it is
We're rocking on the abortion industry in Kansas. And as you know, that's why we moved there. We want to put them out of business. As you say, right. We're here to win.
Right.
And so let's see, how can I just run down the list here?
Well, you got a new grand jury.
We've got a grand jury that's been convened just last week on the big Planned Parenthood on the western half of the state, or the eastern half of the state. And where Mr. Tiller is in the central Kansas, we've got another grand jury that's going to be convened in January, okay? On top of that, Mr. Tiller's facing 19 charges,
right.
And Planned Parenthood is facing 107 charges. And in the midst of all this, remember the abortion industry put forward the best money that they could buy, or the best law enforcement they could buy with a whole lot of money, several millions of dollars, bought the Attorney General's race last year.
Right.
Well, Mr. Morrison,
the new Attorney General,
the brand new pro-abortion Attorney General, bought and paid for by Planned Parenthood and George Tiller, has been run out of office. Right. Now, I'm proud to say that we helped him see the light. You know, he's now gone, and
he was having an affair with. But you know what,
that's
affair,
just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah,
really.
The affair isn't the big deal. He could have survived that.
They all said that.
But you know, here's the thing that's important about that. He's handpicked, store-bought. Tiller put $1 million into his campaign,
yes.
And Lord knows how much other money came from the pro-aborts.
Yep.
Tiller just lost $1 million.
That's right. Flushed right down the toilet.
Tiller put $1 million into getting him elected to beat Kline. He comes in, he's having an affair with a woman from the previous district attorney's office he worked in. This thing comes out, and he resigns like 2 or 3 days later. I'm telling you something, Troy. He did not resign over that affair. He could have weathered that storm.
Right.
But there's criminal charges, I believe, on the horizon because the woman he was having an affair with still worked in the district attorney's office and said that Morrison was putting pressure on her to use her influence in the attorney general's office, in the district attorney's office, to influence the case against Tiller.
Yes.
And Planned Parenthood.
So this is all wrapped up in abortion politics. That's what we said. There's corruption here, and it all surrounds abortion money.
Sounds like a new nighttime TV show to me.
Well, listen, we've said here before many times, and I've written about it on our blog, the corruption that the choice mafia, is what I call them, in Kansas has done. The Kansas choice mafia is the most corrupt that you'll ever find in any state in this country, and it's all starting to crash in around them.
We're rooting it out. It out.
And you know, it's interesting, Troy. I was sitting here when you called me and told me that Morrison had just resigned. I'm sitting there thinking, not to give anybody credit, but this whole thing started as a result of our child predator project. That's what Kline first started working on.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we started. Remember, I came on the show, we talked about this is what we're going to do.
So he starts this investigation on the child predator project, which then leads into this investigation into the late-term abortion issue, which then leads to him getting run out of office because they poured millions of dollars into the state, which now leads to his replacement getting drummed out. And I think the point here is that we have to continue the pressure. If you would have asked me when we started this child predator project, what's the chances that this will cause a pro-life attorney general to get run out of office, a pro-abortion attorney general that replace him to have to resign and probably going to be indicted with criminal charges, I'd have said, you're nuts. How's that ever going to happen?
And 2 grand juries, and 107 charges in Planned Parenthood, and 19 charges against Mr. Tiller.
But here's the issue. God has got a team. He used us. He gave us the resources to do the original thing. Right. He's got you on the ground, you and Cheryl up there, who are running all over the state, making sure that the trap we set, they don't get out of.
Right.
And you've got a lot of people up there who are prayer warriors in Kansas who are praying on this deal, helping you. You got Phill Kline out there, who is a man who steps up to the plate and says, literally, I don't care if it costs me my entire political future and my job, I'm going to do this. Mm-hmm. And it did cost him his political future, and it did cost him his job, but he did the right thing. And, you know, I teased him one time. I said, you know, I feel real bad. I feel like I cost you your job. And he said, well, you did. And he said, and I'd do it all over again. He said, if the same situation were to come again, I'd do exactly the same thing again.
Here's what God says. Do not grow weary in well-doing, for you will reap a reward if ye faint not.
Right.
And how often have we been tempted to faint, to leave it? But if we continue steadfast, on track, on message, we're going to reap that reward, and we're starting to see that happen today.
But God has a plan.
Absolutely.
And we may only know our little part of it, and it may seem totally insignificant. But when we put the life dynamics part with Troy's Operation Rescue and Cheryl and the prayer warriors up there and Phill, Kline.
Yep.
Look what we can do.
That's right.
If we just trust to do our part of the deal and not grow faint and not give up.
That's right.
That's the point here. And let me tell you something. This deal in Kansas is just getting started.
Oh yes.
I'll guarantee you there are going to be some criminal charges brought against Morrison. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if that happens. And also maybe a few other people up there that
I think it's going to go up to the governor's office, and then what's going on with Planned Parenthood is going to have national implications. Of course, we know with Mr. Tiller, if Mr. Tiller loses his license and that place closes down, I shouldn't say if, when, that's going to have national implications.
You're absolutely right. So anyway, you guys keep your pedal to the metal up there. Don't let up on them.